Well, the list just keeps on growing. More than 2 million Americans are now getting tax cut benefits from companies like these in the way of bonuses and wage hikes, and Democrats are doing their best to minimize it. Take a look.
In terms of the bonus that corporate America received versus the crumbs that they are giving to workers to kind of put the schmooze on is so pathetic. It's so pathetic.
Crumbs, pathetic. Well, if the good news keeps coming, how can Democrats keep running against these tax cuts? Hi, everybody. I'm David Asman. Welcome to Forbes on Fox. Let's go in focus to find out with Steve Forbes, Rich Karlgaard, Elizabeth McDonald, Sabrina Schaefer, John Tamney, and Bruce Jackson. So, Steve, will Democrats regret calling these benefits just crumbs?
That's right, David. Most people will get a tax cut, and that's why they're going to have to hope the tweets or something else are going to give them other issues to run on. Republicans, unfortunately, made the situation worse by turning a grand slam into a single, by raising taxes unnecessarily, so they didn't get the kind of sweep they should have had. But most Americans will come out ahead, and we'll see if the Republicans can actually communicate that in a way in which people can understand these are tax cuts.
But Bruce, even Democrats that are involved in stocks and business, like Warren Buffett, say that this is going to be terrific for Americans. I just think that Democrats, if they keep holding on to this idea that these are just crumbs and Americans see them as more than crumbs, that's going to be bad for Democrats, no?
Well, I mean, I do think that they should focus more on the president's comments about people who aren't white and from Norway. But I do believe that this whole idea that they're crumbs, I think that you have to look beyond the press releases here. You have, Walmart giving raises, which is great, but then they're laying off and closing, 60 or so Sam's Club stores. So I think people need to pay close attention here and watch the companies to make sure they're not doing this just for PR, because people will watch, and maybe the president down the line will tweet at them if they don't do anything.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to begin to see some effects in your salaries when you come home. The withholding is going to be less than it was, Sabrina. Nevertheless, to Bruce's point, while most people now, 66% of the public, think that the economy is in great shape, good or great shape right now, they give the credit not to President Trump, but to President Obama. Do you think that's eventually going to change, at least before the election in November?
Well, it's kind of hard to know, David. I mean, there's so much sort of negative press around President Trump that maybe it's hard for people to sort of discern what good things are coming out of the White House. That being said, I think that Democrats are really treading in sort of dangerous waters here. Polls show that people think that Democrats are obsessed with identity politics and that they're ignoring the average American and important economic concerns. This isn't an economic concern. They listen to Steve Forbes. They cut corporate taxes. It is going to help people. There may be some show around the edges from companies like Hallmark or Walmart or some of the utility companies, but the end result is it's still going to help people like you and me, and I'm happy with that.
And by the way, Walmart is not a small company, John. It's a huge company all over America. They just announced that they're boosting the minimum wage in addition to some of these bonuses. And then we have a comment from the head of Waste Management. It's another huge company. He says, we wanted to find a way to help grow our economy. He's talking about his bonuses and give some of the tax savings back to those hardworking employees. These are significant efforts, no?
Yeah, well, as always, Steve is right in the sense that the Republicans could have cut taxes much, much more to the benefit of everyone. But at the same time, Nancy Pelosi gets it backwards. When companies are thriving, a war starts of the non-shooting kind, whereby businesses bid for the services of workers through wage raises and also benefits. So if Pelosi's worried about crumbs, cut the corporate tax to zero and reduce taxes on those most likely to invest.
And Rich, while $1,000 or $2,000 may seem like crumbs to a multimillionaire like Nancy Pelosi, is worth about $40 million. It's a bag of groceries a week to most Americans. I mean, that's a very important bonus in their life, right?
It is. And, when Chrysler employees get a $2,000 a year raise, that's a good thing. And it's not trivial. And Pelosi betrays her elitism. But I'll tell you, Steve alluded to a problem that most of the press, we know the press is largely liberal, but most of the press is also located in places like New York and California and high-tax states. So the very people reporting on this tax plan are going to be the minority of people who are hurt by this tax plan. So I don't expect the press to get behind this at all.
Well, Emac, the fact is, we all agree, I think, that the tax cut should have been bigger. We would have all liked more of our hard-earned money back.
Right.
However, it's going to have an effect. And for people like Pelosi to say this effect is going to be minuscule and crumbs is kind of demeaning to most Americans.
It's demeaning, yes, it is. And you were right. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, Nancy Pelosi is in the 1%, and to her, it's meaningless. It is crumbs. But to the people crying over this event, we got 150 companies, 2 million people possibly getting higher bonuses and wages. It means a lot to them. And the poor people who are seeing their electric utility bills and gas bills go down, we've got a half a dozen utilities passing along the tax cuts in the form of lower energy bills. That's a big deal. As for Walmart, Walmart was working to get rid of its Sam's Club store, lower the presence, because Sam's Club for years has been underperforming Costco in profit and sales. So that was in the works. But watch this. The stubbornness drains them of all common sense when it comes to both Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats. Watch what they won't say, David. You ask them repeatedly. They will not repeal the tax cuts.
Right.
You ask them point blank, they're saying, well, we won't answer the question. So that means they endorse the tax cuts.
Well, and Steve, the bottom line is these bonuses are just part of it. You are going to see growth. A lot of these companies, maybe some of the companies will do these stock buybacks and other things, but a lot of the companies are going to put their money in growing. That means more jobs. That means higher wages. So there are all kinds of effects that are going to ripple through the economy.
That's right, David. You only get economic growth through investment, and you want more investment. And lowering the corporate tax rate to 21% is a very good step in that direction. And you're also going to see new companies finally begin to emerge again after a 15-year hiatus in terms of new company creation because of those low rates. And by the way, David, only in Washington would $1,000 or $2,000 be considered a crumb. And those Washington bureaucrats who get 2 to 3 times what their peers do in the private sector, and they're talking about crumbs. I've got some words for them.
Well, Bruce, you were talking about bad optics for President Trump, and I submit that there are bad optics for President Trump, but isn't this bad optics for Democrats?
Well, I think that they do need to focus on getting it together for an economic plan and so forth. But when you talk about raising the minimum wage, what Walmart is doing, that started like 2 years ago. They had $9 and $10 and $11. That's a good story to tell, and it was not just because of the tax cut. And I think that that you need to watch these companies when they report their 10Ks and their proxies just to see.
They raised it several times since 2015. Walmart did, and they're giving out
to
more
do
family
with this
benefits in
tax cut.
terms of adoption, help, and the
it had
like,
nothing
and
to do with
parental
the
leave.
tax
Yes,
cut.
yes, it did. That's what Walmart just
It had
recently
nothing to
said.
do with the tax
but the bottom
cut.
line
That's
is,
why they
when you go
started
into
in
the voter
2015.
booth, excuse me, when you go into the voter booth, you're going to say, "What did you do for me?" And that's what the Republicans have. What did you do for me? And I'll tell you something,
kicked
David.
my
Here's
family
the
out of the
thing:
country.
with these tax cuts, it's getting the economy moving again. And Democrats have lost. They're in an identity crisis. They used to be for Democrats.
Let me end with you, Sabrina, on what's going to happen in 2018. How does all this affect the midterm elections coming up?
Well, if Republicans are smart, they won't just point to these different stories, some of which might not be, entirely true. But I think what they will point to is that they understand that this is our hard-earned money that they're borrowing, rather than the other way around, which is the way Democrats often talk about it, that we're giving you money back as if it's theirs to begin with. It's not.
Right.
That's the narrative Republicans should run with.
The government didn't make it, we did.